with you.
I like the koozies that are one full piece of foam already like formed into the shape of the can. So all you do is slide it like through the bottom. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not seen those.
So
You haven't seen those?
Mm-mm.
I didn't know if y'all sip these or if you chug them, but
Typically, like we'll be. You can drink them pretty fast. Oh, let's go.
Drew's got to reach in his box of tricks.
Oh my
Where
gosh.
did you get this? Yes.
That's the most American thing
Damn.
I've ever seen.
All right. So we're testing this against the
Chug Bud.
against the Chug Bud.
that's what
All right,
sparked
pour in.
it.
You gotta put your mouth up on
No, I'm
it.
going
No,
to. You
you
pour
pour
it
it
in
in.
first.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mike, you got some. If this works, you got some work to do because this one's got bald eagle on it.
It's called the Freedom Funnel.
All right.
Cacao.
Down she goes.
Let's go.
That's a man who served his time in college.
Oh, damn.
You took the whole thing down, too. Impressive.
Were you supposed to do half?
That's what she said.
You can't. She said.
You can't.
Your
Yeah, you
joke.
can't do it to yourself.
I can do whatever I want.
Damn, my brain's hot now. That's good. I like it.
Yep.
Where
so
do we get one of these?
That's y'all's.
We keep it?
Yeah,
She's
buy
keep-
it for
No,
you.
this is sitting on the
What?
table now.
Yeah, I know. Keep it right there.
Right up in the middle.
Dude,
She's gonna be there forever now. It's a staple.
that's a good
You
chugger.
gotta
It is.
you gotta
It's
sign
got a
off
lot of
on her.
airflow,
It is.
that's why.
Dude,
You gotta sign
I
on her
like it.
before you
Well,
leave.
I'm just going to keep the sign here. Still get you guys some
It's
advertising.
literally called the Freedom Funnel.
I saw that. Yeah.
I love it.
Well, that's a good way to start off the podcast, but I suppose we should introduce our next guest.
Dude,
That was an introduction itself,
Yeah.
wasn't
There you
it?
go.
we have Drew from... Is it Wheel Pros, Rotiform, Fuel? Which one is
Is
it?
it Hoonigan
All
now?
of it? Hoonigan?
It's Hoonigan
48
now.
hours ago, Hoonigan. Yeah.
So we have Drew here from Hoonigan. Thank you for stopping by. Drew's been we've been I think we connected. First of all, didn't you come and get a tour here?
Yeah.
About a year
With-
ago.
Yeah. February.
And then
Yeah, that was the first introduction into the Vyper scene.
So
And
tell a
the-
little bit how you found out about Vyper, though. I think it's an interesting story.
So it was interesting because I got a targeted marketing ad from
again.
probably
Yeah.
Alex,
Yeah.
and I probably saw it back in like December or November of last year.
Yeah.
And then as the algorithm goes, I screenshot it. And I was like, dude, I need to revisit that. Those chairs look badass. I should probably invest in one of those. I didn't know what for. You know, was it going to be a garage? Was it going to be for like my
Office
workplace,
chair?
my
Yeah,
office?
whatever it
I
is.
didn't know, but I was like, that's overbuilt, and I really need that.
Love it.
So I always kept coming back to that picture. I'm like, God, that looks really good. So we came up here in February for Pomps Tire. They had a huge conference every February.
Yeah.
So they bring in like all 600 of their locations. They don't do anything on the custom side with us. They just buy a lot of our accessories.
Yeah.
So specifically lug nuts. So we had a lot of downtime, and we went and visited some customers. And I went into Redline
Yeah.
right around the corner. And I've been in there plenty of times, but the guy that I brought in from Minnesota, they wanted to give him a tour, and because he was more on the power sports side, and they do a lot of power sports. So we were walking around the facility getting the tour, and I saw a bright red Vyper chair.
Let's go. That's awesome.
And the tech was sitting on it, working underneath this badass like twin turbo Supra.
Let's
And
go.
I was
The
like,
white one?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I was like, dude, that looks awesome. The car looked good, but the
Let's
chair
go.
looked really good. So I asked him, I was like, how did y'all go? Like, how'd you get this? And he was
Right.
like, you just missed them. Like, the guys were here like an hour ago. They
Must
were
have been
shooting
you.
a video.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That's
was.
small world.
Yeah, he was like, they were just here shooting a video. Like, they set up the chairs. We shot a bunch of roll with them. Like, they were here like all morning. And I still didn't know where y'all were located at. Had no clue. I just knew that the way our marketing is shot and all of the automotive industry, like anything that looks that good is usually coming out of California.
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, they came all the way from California to set up chairs and shoot a video? He's like, no, like,
Right down the road.
bro, they're 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, this thing that I see
Depends
on
if Sam's
Instagram all
driving
the
or
time.
not. Sometimes
came
it's
out
like
of Green
25,
Bay?
30 minutes.
So I was like, this thing that I see on Instagram all the time and screenshot is like literally in my backyard.
That's
up in
awesome.
Green Bay once a month. So I was like, we still had like 2 or 3 more hours before the conference started. So I was like, let's just go over there. Maybe they got a show.
Dude, that's sick.
I was, I'm thinking you think
pretty
chairs,
wild.
you think like
Yeah.
a furniture company, like you expect
Right.
there to be like a little showroom.
Right.
And it was February, it was cold, it was
Yeah,
snowing.
yeah.
And we walked up to the front door and there just wasn't anything. And rang the doorbell and nobody came, which if anybody's in trouble for that, I'm sorry. I just think they were really busy because there was a lot of phone
this
calls
year,
going
February?
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think
Yeah.
of who was here.
Well, we had
So,
half the
well-
team at that point.
Yeah,
but
at that point we didn't
Yeah.
really have sales
Well,
team
we
or
went and
anybody to
hopped in
really
the
show.
truck and we were just going to head back and I figured I'd just revisit it again.
Right.
And then I was like, you know what? I just got a call. I just got to, man. So I
Dude.
looked up the number and I called, and then Chris Gromo picked up, and I was like, hey man, we're in town. We're in the same industry. Like, we saw that you're right around the corner from one of the shops we were visiting, and
Yeah.
didn't know if you had a showroom. He's like, are you in the white truck? I was like, yeah. He's like, look in your rearview mirror, and I like looked in the rearview mirror. He's like waving up. He's like, come in.
That
come
sounds
in."
like Chris.
Yeah. So we walked in, and he gave us the huge grand tour, and like the rest was history after that.
That's
So-
awesome. Dude, it's not a coincidence if you think about it.
Well, then
Yeah.
we
Like
there was
everything happens for a reason when it's needed to. Like
Well,
you
and-
called, like you
and
had you had
nothing-
something in you
yeah.
to say call.
But
you
the
know?
funniest part too is like then it kind of just it didn't go anywhere. It was just nothing else happened, and then it wasn't until Vyper Fest started where he was going shop to shop, and they're like, "You going to Vyper Fest?" He's like, "What the hell's Vyper Fest?" And then that's what snowballed
Yeah.
into kind of
Yeah.
rekindling that, and coming back, and We're
it
gonna get that
trickled
now.
off a little bit. So, my mindset at that point was like, these chairs are awesome. They're overbuilt. I really need to get these into the hands of even just some of my customers.
Yeah.
In February, we're always leading up to, so Wheel Pros does a huge open house at every single one of their locations, so all 36 locations. And it's a huge customer appreciation. And then we bring in outside vendors, we bring in anybody that's like aligned with our company. But we also invite every customer in the region. So we're talking a couple thousand people get an invite.
Right.
And they come out and we wine them and we dine them, and it's actually a huge sale.
No kidding.
Like we give them the
Yeah.
deepest discounts of the year, and then they'll come in and. But it's more just to get get everybody under one roof and just hang out and have a
Absolutely.
good time, and then also show off all the brand new products that are going to be coming out for that year, which is why we do it in the spring and not the fall.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and I was just thinking, I was like, we do tons of raffles, door prizes, giveaways, and I'm like big ticket items.
Right.
And we'll give out like Traeger grills, big like 70, 80 inch TVs. Like we just give away a bunch of stuff, but it's
Yep.
always the same stuff. And it's usually whatever Costco has on the
Right.
shelf. So, and I just thought, I was like, what's something that like everybody in our industry would actually use that's still a big ticket item and doesn't feel cheap and doesn't feel like they're not getting like a quality product. And I was like, dude, we got to start giving away some of these Vyper chairs. Like, let's
go,
just
dude.
raffle these things off.
Game over.
And the coolest part is it really works, not to toot our own horn, but it's like it's a giveaway that works because everyone wants one. People may just not want to spend the money on it. So when they get it for free or they have an opportunity to give it
Oh,
for
yeah.
free, it's like,
Yeah.
It's a
And-
big deal.
yeah.
It didn't pan out just because of the short time. So what happened was I went back, we did the conference, I went back to the hotel, and I just started actually like going through y'all's Instagram. Like,
Yeah.
I got to know more about these guys. And I literally saw the same day a Hoonigan post. And I was like, how did I not
Dude, that's
see
like
this?
some Destiny stuff.
Yeah.
How did I
dude.
not
Yeah.
see
And
this?
that was
Like,
something
yeah.
that was something we just started doing right then too.
And it was the cleanest cut, like the cleanest edit.
With
Like
the
I
smoke.
still remember
Stop,
it.
we
Like
just
the fan,
Almost set off
the
the smoke
fan was
alarm
just
for
spinning.
a second time.
Dude, we can't make Sam's head any bigger than it already is. So if you
No,
could
I
just
get
chill
kicked
on
off.
that
It
stuff.
hardly
That
fits
one was
in.
cut so
I
good.
do actually.
We're having to move podcast rooms soon. It's getting a little tight in here.
Yeah. So, long story short, then I saw the Hoonigan post, and then literally the post that was right before that one was Throttle. So I'm like,
Which again, Wheel Pros owns.
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that time, Wheel Pros owned Hoonigan and Throttle.
we were 1 year into our acquisition. Yeah, so we purchased them in 2021, and this was right at the beginning of 2022,
Right.
so we were a year in. And it just kept hitting me. I'm like, dude, how are these guys affiliated with the company that I work for?
Let's go. That's awesome.
On levels that I don't even know. Like,
Yeah.
they're going out to our facilities or traveling cross country and going to these things. And I'm just finding out that they're, like, in my territory, much less in my backyard. And I'm
Right.
like,
Little
Dude,
Green Bay.
I didn't know the backstory of how everything came together. That's insane. I didn't know that you saw that red line and
well, and
just
then
before that you can hit hit with ads.
Everything about
It-
Vyper has one of
yeah.
these stores, which is the
Yeah.
funniest thing ever.
It kind of went stagnant for a while, which makes sense because once spring hits, it's just a roller coaster
Yeah.
for us and anybody in the industry. You can't
100%.
catch a break. Like we're on the road going
Right.
to shows, every weekend, if not twice a weekend,
Right.
and that doesn't include the 9 to 5. So it kind of went on the back burner. Like I still follow the Instagram, screenshotted all the chairs that I wanted, and
But we still didn't get you to buy, dude.
I know not yet.
He's got one out there now.
Yes.
Drew had to get the special limited edition
get you
white
hooked up.
one,
Yeah.
so we had to wait for
You
white.
know what? We're gonna get you an American bald eagle one now.
Dude, the
No
shoes he's
doubt.
wearing, we were talking about it like last night because we went and grabbed dinner.
Yeah.
That like
So-
checker pattern.
Oh, with the sock too.
yeah, it looks
Let's
sick.
go.
That'd be good for a limited edition.
It would be.
it is.
It'd be really
Yeah.
good.
That's like
Mine
a
must smell like
Scotto
feet, but
edition,
this-
isn't it?
Yeah, like it's
Scotto-
almost like
Scotto
a
rocks
race
nothing
flag
with
edition, though.
Yeah.
Right?
But
Huh?
for us,
The
I was
checker
thinking,
flag?
Yeah.
That could
this
be a
is our
popular one.
yeah, this
I'm
is our
down for
KMC wheel.
Oh, yeah.
So KMC is
We already,
all about off-road racing, Baja.
Yeah.
Like
dude, we could
That's your
already
checkerboard
already
right
do
there.
it because the ones what he wanted made was white with black hardware. So we had some white ones made for something else. So he jumped
Yeah.
on that one. So we could do
Yeah.
the tops and that.
yeah,
That would look good.
Well, dude, thanks for making the trip up
appreciate
here.
it.
So Drew's in Chicago.
Yep.
How'd you get started at now Hoonigan? But
Previously Wheel Pros.
previously Wheel Pros.
Previously a lot of other
Yeah.
brands. Long backstory. How far back you want to go?
Go deep.
Yeah, all the way back.
How'd you get
dig deep.
started?
Were you a car guy before all this, or?
I was. So I was born into it. My dad was an area manager for McGuire's Car Wax. So he covered all of Texas, Illinois, Indiana, or Illinois. No, sorry. I've been living up here way too long.
Yeah.
Texas, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arkansas, Louisiana.
Nice.
Jeez.
So he covered the whole southern region for McGuire's. So my life as a child was car shows, car events, SEMA,
Right.
like you name it. We were just always on the road. We were like a traveling band.
Right.
And he just brought me along to everything because what kid doesn't want to just run around and look at cool cars?
He wasn't making you
While
clean
his dad's
wheels.
working.
No, he was big.
He did.
Did he?
Daycare is probably expensive, so he's like,
Yeah.
Get to cleaning.
Yeah, I got a fond appreciation of how to clean a car.
Yeah, right.
And it was usually his car.
Yeah.
Because the last thing that any guy that's in the industry wants to do is clean their own vehicle.
100%.
pretty much, yeah.
So, from as early as I can remember, I was just submersed in the car culture.
Yeah.
The part of Texas that I grew up in, which was Dallas Fort Worth, at that time, we have really big high schools. Like everything's big in the South. Everybody that goes to work, like you're either you're sacking groceries, you're going to Six Flags and working at Six Flags or Hurricane Harbor, because that was like right down the street. You're working, passing out chips and hot dogs at like the Ranger Stadium. Like it's all just like,
Yeah.
kid
Yeah.
friendly. And I was like, I'm just not about that. I just didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something automotive related, but I wasn't old enough to get it like an ASE certification or do
Yeah.
anything like that. So at that time, Discount Tire was hiring, and you could hire on as early as 15. You just couldn't work more than like 20 hours a week. So I was like the sweeping guy in the shop.
That's where you got to start.
But I
man.
was in a shop. I was
at the bottom.
submersed. I was around vehicles,
Yeah.
and it stuck. And I was
Yeah.
making twice as much as all of my friends. So
Yeah.
I was like living large. I loved it. It was my little way to get into the car culture,
Right.
and kind of make my own seed without just piggybacking my dad or going to,
Respect
playing the
him,
safe
right.
bet and going and working
Yeah.
for McGuire's.
Right.
Until he went more
You
for
know,
McGuire's.
A little bit.
That could always be a plan B too.
Yeah.
It was. Right.
So that was that
Just
was my
jumped the
way
gun
in.
there.
It wasn't until like actually becoming like I turned 16. I was old enough to start working on the vehicles, and I
Right.
just realized that I really liked fitments and wheels and tires. And
Yeah.
it wasn't even like the grind of like the changing the 9 to 5 stuff like on your mom's minivan.
Right.
Like it was the custom stuff. Like that's where I really like took to it and really shined and just submersed myself in that. It didn't really take off until I moved.
Right.
So my wife, her and I, we've been together 18 years, and we were high
Jeez.
school sweethearts
Yeah.
down in Texas. Her dad relocated the whole family up to Illinois. And so we were always off and on, but we were always still pretty much together.
Right.
And when she graduated college, I did a couple years of college right out of high school and just realized that the books just weren't for me. Like, I'm a very much more hands-on guy. Like,
Yeah.
I like
that.
the trades side of things.
Yeah.
So she graduated, and all of my buddies were graduating at that time, and nobody was using their degrees.
Right.
So I told my wife, I was like, apply
At
in your
that point,
field.
you're married in college?
Well, no, we weren't married yet, so I probably sped up a little bit, but graduated high school, still worked for Discount Tire.
Yep.
Joined the fire industry, 2008. Crash, stock market fell out. They weren't hiring anybody.
Yep.
It's too expensive to keep your certifications, so push that to the side. I was like, that ain't gonna work out. So I went back full time at Discount Tire and just continued to do what I knew. But kind of felt stuck. Like, it's a very stagnant area in Texas. Like,
Yeah.
at that time, there were like 75 stores just in the Metroplex.
Right.
And I think now they're probably pushing over 100 stores just in Dallas and Fort Worth. Like,
Yeah.
it's just,
Jeez.
it's huge.
Yikes.
So
Still
it's-
growing
it's-
too. They just built one in Appleton.
Yeah, it's very.
Yeah.
I think they're at like 1,200 stores nationwide. as a
insane.
It's like
company.
they took over in that industry.
Yeah, absolutely. They got a lot of competition now, but I mean, they're the pinnacle.
Right.
So I graduated and just submersed myself into working for Discount Tire and trying to go up the corporate ladder as much as possible. Realized that there wasn't a whole lot of room for growth because you have 75 guys chasing the same position. And it was just very cutthroat, and it just became something that I wasn't happy with. And I figured maybe a relocation, but still sticking with the same company might be better.
Yeah.
And at that time, my wife and I, we were really getting serious. We wanted to move back in, and she was either going to move to Texas or I was going to move up here. And that's where the whole college thing came in, and all my friends were not using their degrees. Like, it was just paper on the wall. Like, they're going into the medical industry or just they're chasing paper.
Yeah.
And so I told her, I was like, you just graduated, use your degree. Wherever you get accepted, I'll go there.
Yeah.
Like, I just want, if we're going to do this together and I'm going to help you pay off like student loans and stuff, like, we're going to do this together, and then I want you to actually use it.
Yeah.
So I came up to Illinois, which was probably
a
the best thing
guy.
I could have
Yeah,
ever
damn.
done.
What a
Yeah.
guy. We just a little
I did.
cheers there, dude. That's
Jeez.
pretty legit.
I was
18
mad.
years and doing all that stuff,
Literally
dude.
told my parents, like, overnight, I'm like, I'm moving to Illinois.
Yeah.
Mom was pissed.
Well, dude, you
Yeah.
and your
You
I don't
can't
know-
make both women in your life
Dad,
happy. I
Dad
don't
was
think
probably
that
a little
works
pissed
out.
too, because at that time I think he thought that I would finally just like forego Discount Tire and go work for McGuire's and just
Yeah.
submerge myself into his culture.
Yeah.
But as much as I knew about the car cleaning culture and stuff, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to detail cars. I'm sorry, Alex. That's just not
There's a reason I don't do it.
that's just not my jam. So
No, I see why you move. Like, the connection you and your wife have too. It looks awesome. I've never met her, but even not just what you're posting on social media,
Yeah.
it looks like you guys are like best friends.
yeah,
Like,
she
that's-
is.
that's
She's my
awesome.
best friend for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's
it's
awesome.
awesome.
We do everything together. She's really supportive. I mean, with life on
But
the road.
question though, you're drinking a spotted cow and she's mowing the lawn. How the hell does that work?
No,
To be
the
fair.
problem is the thing is you're not allowed. You're not allowed. You messed up because she knows how cool it is to mow the lawn. You can't let them know that
You
it's
ever
cool.
listen to
That's
Dave-
how you like. Oh, I'll go. It takes me 5
Should I-
hours. You get out of the house to mow the
Babe,
lawn.
Should I let
like-
everybody listening think that she really did mow the lawn, or should I just like, should I just say that she was sitting there watching me wash her car?
Well, it's because you don't have a
You got the
Viper chair,
worst-
so she's
yeah.
just sit
What you
on
couldn't
the.
see from that picture was that I was like 10 feet in front of it, detailing her car for her.
See,
So this guy needs a Viper chair so bad he has his wife using the lawnmower to sit on to watch him. That's what we're hearing.
It's true.
or he's just using that story and she was actually mowing the lawn.
No, no. I've let her before, but I'm a little
Let
too
her.
particular. I like
Dude,
my
you
my
gotta do
lines
lines,
nice and
man.
straight,
Absolutely.
man.
It's not that. It's just it's fun, and I want to be
It
the one to mow the
is. I like to
lawn.
put my
you gotta ride
earbuds
it.
in
Yeah,
and just
dude.
listen to a podcast
Dude,
or
they
listen
have-
to music and just tone out.
They have lawn. You know, you can go to school for lawn mowing.
Yeah. Lawn care.
Lawn
Yeah.
care. Yeah.
It's a real
there's,
thing.
There's video games on it. Like,
I'm legit.
well, think of-
I
It's
would
just like
like
a
to know
redneck
how they
go-karting.
crosshatch like yards. Have
well,
you
no,
ever
some
seen
people
that?
are super passionate about it. Like,
Yeah.
like legitimately passionate about mowing lawns.
Yeah.
Our truck contact for our shipping, he on the side he plays lawn mowing video games. He'll take lawn mowing classes. Like it's an art.
There's
And
drone footage of it and stuff. Like
you'll
people
get
take
it.
it seriously.
If you're,
It's a good
if-
way to build your brand, though.
if you're a golfer, you'll understand that there's definitely a market
Oh, yeah.
for it. You ever go on some pristine golf courses, dude? It's caught perfectly, like
Yeah, seriously.
flat, and that's not just anybody with a lawnmower can go and do that. It takes
Well, because they have,
Skill.
I watched it. They
Yeah.
actually like take sand and they grade the yard and make
It's
it so
nuts,
it's
yeah.
flat. So they're going back over and over and over and taking sand, going back and forth until
Yeah.
it's completely
It's
level.
it's an art. That's
But,
for sure.
yeah.
Art, I'm not interested in. I just like driving
Yeah.
the thing around in circles.
Well, and that's one thing. Like I didn't.
While drinking spotted
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I
yeah.
didn't get that in Texas. Like Texas, it's just everything's dead all the time.
Can you get a
know?
DUI on a lawnmower?
I don't
He hasn't
know.
yet.
That's a good question.
I don't know. Let's figure it out.
Is there,
I haven't yet. I
is-
don't know.
does the roadie law from Wisconsin apply
Well,
to lawnmowers?
Wisconsin's weird. Like, you can get,
Yeah, roadie. That's
you can get a DUI for being on a bicycle.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're doing something
If you
safe.
drink
Well,
if you
here in Wisconsin, like it's pretty much anybody that's not in a car on a Saturday night is probably drunk, and probably in a car too.
yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want
So
to
you
leave
can get a
the.
Dewey
Even
on
in
a,
the back seat.
bicycle,
On a bicycle,
but all the
yeah.
guys like all winter long are out,
Yeah.
ripping on their sleds and going from hut to
Wasted.
hut, just ripping.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do have
Makes
to.
sense if you don't think about it.
I,
guess so.
I do have to bring up a little gripe that I have with Alex right now.
Real quick, I don't want to leave
Bring it
the.
up.
I don't want to leave the viewers or the listeners like hanging there. Therefore, Wisconsin's DUI statute covers driving a lawnmower on a city street. So as long as you're not driving a city street, you can drink
You're
it.
good?
Yeah.
Wow.
So just stay in the grass area as you're driving alongside the road,
Okay.
and you're fine. As long as you're technically mowing, I guess you're
Sidewalk.
fine.
You could do sidewalk.
Technically,
Right.
there's
Yeah.
no grass in the street, so that's probably where it becomes a legal issue. But let's hear the problem that you have with
Yeah, let's
me.
hear
Where do
this.
we want to start? We starting with at the top, or we just
I
doing
wanna hear the
one, or how
gripe.
many are we
No,
doing?
so
Because I don't want to leave Drew hanging this whole time. I think we're here for him, not me.
Oh,
So
the gripe,
we're here
right.
for all of us, man.
What's
Let's
the
just
gripe?
cut up.
No, the gripe is I borrowed Alex my truck yesterday, and then Drew picked me up for dinner.
Well, in my defense, I tried to take old Blue and she just didn't start.
yeah.
It didn't start.
Didn't start.
Actually, I have the
Damn.
keys in my vehicle yet.
And then
so.
I jokingly said something to Sam because he was helping me find the keys because you guys were busy. I couldn't find them in Dylan's office, but I found them because I put a fuel keychain on there, and that's how I ended up
Yes.
finding them. And then so I went out there and I couldn't start it, and I texted Sam. I was like, "It doesn't even start after all that type, whatever I said." And we're in Uber, and he's like, "Taco," and I was like, "I'll take the taco."
Yeah.
He's like, "When do you get me back?" I'm like, "Oh, 6. I don't know." It
Yeah.
definitely was not 6.
It was
And
not
I-
6.
And
but
I
Drew
didn't look
came
at
and got me.
Yeah, but
so
what's
we
funny
went
is
out
that
to
I
dinner,
looked
yeah.
at my phone and after a little bit, and I saw unread messages from Sam and then Drew, and I was like, "Oh crap!" And then I saw, never mind, Drew's gonna come get me, and I was like, "That actually worked out really well."
It did. It worked out surprisingly
because I
well.
didn't respond to either of them, and they
place we were
actually
gonna
linked
go
up
to.
together.
Closed.
Yeah.
Where were you gonna go?
Madrid tapas. Tapas.
Oh, where'd you go instead?
It said it was open. We went to
Hager, something.
Hagmeister Park, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's
classic.
the fallback.
Well, that's where
The
we had the
steak
Christmas party
salad?
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
You just
go-to.
can't go wrong.
it is.
Yeah, it's too good.
All right, so you and your wife, so you decide to pick up your bags. You're moving to Illinois.
Yeah, just packed up everything I owned.
How old are you?
I've been here 10, almost 11 years. I'm 34, so yeah, I was like 24, 25 when I packed up. It was just, it was just time. I needed to change the scenery. So I didn't mind adopting like cold weather or, anything like that. If anything, it was kind of a blessing in disguise. I had never really
Yeah.
lived or seen changing of the seasons. I didn't know what that was a thing. I just wish I didn't move up in the middle of a February. That was
No.
kind of stupid.
Seeing it for the first time though, like the 4 seasons, it's insane, isn't it?
Yeah.
You
Dude,
just- you
I
just
haven't
recognize it,
seen
yeah.
fall in forever.
That blows my mind.
I've been in Florida
It makes
I've
us
been-
feel like we take it for granted.
Dude, you really do. I've been in Florida for 20 years now or whatever, and Florida doesn't have seasons. We have summer and we have kind of a
Hurricane.
winter.
That's-
yeah. And then and every time I come up here, for whatever reason, I never come here in the fall, and I didn't realize because fall comes and goes here really quick. Like you got to be there at the right time.
Yeah.
And so like this is the first time I'm up here and there's fall and like the colors of the trees and the leaves. I'm like, this is all. I'm driving yesterday.
Yeah.
You see my phone. I have like 20 pictures of me just taking pictures of the trees and whatnot.
Yeah,
Like
it's pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
he came pick me up at like 6 a.m. the other day, and I was like walking outside, and it was dark, and I could see that one of the trees was a different color, and I'm sitting there taking pictures of this one tree, it's awesome. You guys definitely take it for granted.
Yeah.
That's what we say about
really
Texas.
nice.
You got 2 seasons. You got February and you got summer. And that's it.
Yeah, dude. That's what I'm saying.
It's pretty barren there. It's dry.
It
in
is.
Texas.
When did we go down to Goldberg's? Because that was really nice.
That was like
that weather
February. It was
really nice,
perfect.
yeah. It was like 65 and sunny.
Where was he
Jeans and a
located at?
t-shirt. He's just outside of
oh, what was that city called?
Austin.
See, no, Austin's
No, not outside
completely-
Austin. He's in a Bernie.
Yeah,
Bernie?
Bernie,
Okay.
Texas.
Yeah.
It was a nice area.
Yeah, Austin's like the
What
only
is that
place that
outs-
gets like some nice green and
That's
some.
not-
It's the Texas Hill Country.
It's not Austin. What city is that we flew into?
San
Antonio.
San Antonio.
There we go. So
Yeah,
like,
I
that's
just
West
started.
Coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of.
We had a
pretty,
tour out in the
you
middle of nowhere out there too.
Yeah,
they're
we
close
saw
to
the
each other.
freaking,
We don't talk about that
Yeah,
though.
stop.
You
You
know.
don't have to.
saw some pretty.
Oh, dude, why do you gotta bring
Yeah,
up that every
raw
time?
shit.
We're not going to talk about
I
this
was just
'cause-
bringing up like getting let
Some pretty
down, not
dark
that
stuff.
part.
Sorry.
Okay,
Bring it
so
up.
Texas was great. So you came up to Wisconsin. How long did it take you to adjust to the cold?
Nah, y'all
But
got
those
me. You
poor-
gotta elaborate now.
Such a broad
Ah,
question.
fuck.
But there's just
we
two
might cut
dogs.
this part. So
Dude, it was
yeah,
it was
to,
sad.
to
Okay.
fast forward.
No, we're not
No,
talking
we're
about
not
that. We're not talking
No,
about that.
No,
We're
keep
just
it
gonna-
in.
we're gonna cut-
Everyone's got to hear about it.
No,
I
they
wanna talk
don't,
about
bro.
this.
real
This is
quick,
so
we could-
depressing.
It's already in your head.
Hey, Drew, do you want to hear about two dead dogs?
No,
What?
it's one dead dog.
That's so sad.
Yeah,
I have
and
3
two-
dogs.
Yeah, so no, we don't want to.
Two more walking
Alright, so
away.
we're
He
driving
complains about this all the time, but always brings it up every
So
time.
we're driving down.
She was
We're
fucking
driving
sad.
back from.
I think this is like the third podcast we brought this up.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, this is why I'm saying we should just.
we can
cut
explain it better
Yeah.
here. Whatever. We're driving back from getting catfished, and it's a 4-hour
This
drive
rabbit
there
hole's going
too.
deep.
And so we're driving, and it's like
No
just-
context
it's just
other than that.
desert.
Let's
Like,
leave it
it's just
there.
That's why I
it's
think we
just
just cut this
nothing.
whole part.
Yeah.
You know, you got like your oil rigs and everything, and this work truck in front of us is beaming, probably doing 80, 90, and
Middle of nowhere,
dude,
Texas.
3 dogs cross the road. He tags one of them right in front of us. Like, I'm
Yeah.
talking 3 car lengths in front of us, and we see it, and it's
Fuck, yeah, the other two dogs.
the other
like,
2 dogs like they cross the
going.
road, but they stop and like they look back, and we pass, and I'm looking at my rearview mirror, and they go back in the road to like look at their dead friend or brother or
Fallen-
sister.
fallen
It's really
brother.
depressing.
And dude, it's just sad to see like
Yeah.
the 2 dogs go back and like it's gone, and the dude didn't even stop or anything. He just kept going.
Yeah. He
So,
was in a big
that
old
was-
truck, so.
Dude, we after that.
Such a cool guy.
For
Goldberg
like,
was awesome.
this was
Yeah.
our first like big trip, I think, and
Yeah.
like that was day one, and it was you could not we called it had a shittier day, but that was a shitty day,
Yeah.
all around.
But Goldberg made
We
it
still had a good
sick.
time though.
Yeah.
He seems like he just loves his
Dude,
cars.
Texas was
He's
really
a
cool.
Dude.
he's a genuine dude.
He's
One
a
of the
no
best
car,
guys
no
I ever
car kinda
met.
guy.
Yeah,
Like-
he's like so you have all these celebrities, and you know a lot of times either you're fully over yourself you're fully full of yourself and like the world revolves around you, or you're still a genuine person. You just became famous from doing cool stuff or being yourself, and that's Goldberg. He was a big meathead and loved America, loved body slamming people.
Yeah.
And we went there. He's still Goldberg. He's still big. He still has Dodge calling him every single day. And he blocked off 6 hours to hang out with us.
He just sat there while we were building the
Sat
chairs
there.
talking to us. And like he was telling us about all these businesses. And the thing I'm thinking about is like you have like 90 businesses you're running and you're sitting here hanging out with us.
Talking to us.
He took
It
like
was
maybe
awesome.
1 or 2 phone calls the entire time, but he was so intentional.
Phone calls because he was connecting with other people. He's like, you know who would like this chair?
Yeah.
And just calling another celebrity out. And it's like, dude, that is just
Goldberg.
phenomenal. He was so happy to
Yeah.
have us there. And like, it was, and the coolest thing too is he built that whole garage. And like, it wasn't even like, this was his like pinnacle of like what he wanted to do in life. His not what he wanted to do in life, but like one thing that really made him happy was building his ultimate garage, right? To store his cars that he's been collecting, his favorite things ever. Half of that dream shop of his is a weight room he made just for his kid. Like, how cool is that as a dad? Like that stuff.
pretty sick.
That was awesome.
And what's
Alex
his son's
attempted
name?
to.
I didn't attempt. I lifted that thing clean.
Gauge.
Cleaned it.
That was like 650 pounds.
And
You pulled your
cleaned it,
bag.
bro.
And then there's probably video of it.
Pull the
He
video.
walked right
He
since.
pulled his back on
Yeah.
it. But his son's name's
I didn't
Cage,
lift it
right?
up.
Or Gage?
Yeah,
One of
for-
them.
I'd have to watch
Gauge.
the
Gauge because
That's
it
a
sounds
badass
bad.
name,
Yeah, dude.
Gage Goldberg? Damn.
He's a big kid too.
But
That's
yeah,
that's
that's
a
our-
tough name.
That's right. That's a wrestler name for sure. Like, you're in WWE.
Yeah.
But that was our Texas trip, and besides that little hiccup, it was a great trip.
Hopefully, I'll get a better one.
Yeah. But
We do need to go back
all
out
right.
there.
You're moving.
Continuing on, you're in Illinois now. It's
moved.
cold.
You and your wife,
in.
she graduated college. You just said, this ain't for me.
Yep. So she applied everywhere, and she got hired on in Illinois. So that made the transition up here a lot easier. And all of her family had stayed in Illinois, so it wasn't like it was just me and her against the world. Like I still had family in the area. So
what'd she go to school for?
Marketing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and she was using it. Yeah. Realized how cold it was and that I probably made a mistake.
Yeah.
So
Especially moving in February.
Yeah.
well, and it wasn't just that. It was the 10, I think right at 10 years ago was when they had the polar vortex, like the really bad one. And that was the day I was unloading a U-Haul.
There's the clueless flirting over here. I don't know what that is.
So I drove,
That's when it's like
It sounds cold, and that's
negative
what it is.
outside.
it was terrible.
Polar vortex.
So like 30s? Or
No,
like-
no.
like
No, 30.
negative
Yeah.
30s.
Negative. It was negative 47 wind
Yeah.
chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
It's
I
to
probably
where
would have just left
We were
you
carrying
until
it-
tomorrow.
well, I had to get my clothes out. I had to start my new job on Monday.
your clothes would have froze.
Everything did.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad.
Yeah.
So, went and continued to work for Discount Tire and just continued to work up the corporate ladder. But it was in an area that was actually growing. And they were open to options. So, me growing up with my dad and just submersing myself into, like, the car scene and the car culture, I realized, like, one thing that really resonates and gets, like, people to recognize your brand, especially if you're in that industry, is car shows. Like cruising, like cruise nights, car shows, meetups, just anything like that. And there was nothing that Discount Tire was doing like that. So I approached the vice president and I was like, dude, just I'll do this off the clock. Like, I won't even charge. Like, it's just let me do me.
Yeah.
Just like, I just want to run with this. If it's a fail, I'll never ask you to do anything again.
Yeah.
And so I put on like a cruise night every single weekend,
Yeah.
all summer long. And I would just go around to different Discount Tire locations and set it up for them. And
Let's
it
go.
just took off. It was
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Awesome.
Yeah, take
And-
that plunge.
And it was awesome. It got the brand out there, but we would also host other brands to come in. And Wheel Pros was already established in the area at that point.
Yeah.
So I would always piggyback on Wheel Pros because I liked pushing a lot of aftermarket wheels, and then the fitment was just kind of my thing.
Yep.
And so I would always invite them out to the cruise nights, and they would show up in force, bring out a bunch of custom wheels, displays, a lot like what we brought over to
Yep.
Vyper. So we kind of built this relationship and this partnership between myself and them, but it also piggybacked both companies, and it just seemed to really work, and it
Yeah.
took off.
Your VP was probably like, hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Corporate loved it. I mean,
Yeah,
they were showing
yeah,
up. Like, they
yeah.
got to show off that a bunch of the guys had classic cars, and they
Right.
got to bring their cars out to all the different cruise nights. So it was a good time.
You gotta shake things up and make it different.
Yeah.
I love that.
You can't just stay stagnant. You always got to chase more.
Yeah.
So at that point, there were three top wheel brands in the industry that were pretty much covering the entire market. So you had Wheel Pros, which was a parent company to, I think, like 8 brands at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Three, they were the bigs. And those were the only 3 brands that I sold or pulled from. I just had a great relationship with Wheel Pros because they were right in my backyard.
Yeah.
All the other guys were, I mean, there was an MHT office, but it was like a couple guys that were just answering the phone,
Yeah.
which was actually Danny.
Oh, small world.
Who came with us. So he was a transfer. And
Nice.
so I always leaned heavy on Wheel Pros. And then I saw the news that, I think it was 2018, it was 2019. Wheel Pros bought MHT. I was like, this is huge. Like, that's like the equivalent of like Chevy buying Ford.
Yeah.
And so I hit up Jeff Fitch at the time, who was the area manager for Wheel Pros, and him and I had a really good rapport. We hung out outside of work, and I was just like, dude, you just brought on 8 brands that you know nothing about. Like, it's going to be easy for you to learn because it's still the industry, but you don't know the SKUs, you don't know
What a
the part numbers, you don't
salesman.
know anything.
Yeah.
Clever.
And I do.
Yeah.
I'm pushing all 3 brands already. So we did a lot of sitting down. It actually took a lot longer for the full acquisition and integration to go into effect, but we kind of had a plan laid out. So I just stuck with Discount Tire until we seemed comfortable. And as soon as the full integration and we went public with it, then
Let's go,
I
dude.
jumped.
Yeah.
So I gave up 15 years is how long I was already at Discount
Yeah.
Tire.
Jeez,
I was gonna
that's
say
a
that wasn't
life.
too long ago then, like 3.5 years or 4 years.
Yeah, I jumped off when I was 30. I'm 34 now.
Yeah.
So I'm in my 4th year with Wheel Pros and now Hoonigan. And dude, it's been a whirlwind. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't looked back since. It's been a riot. When I did jump off, though, I mean, that was in November of 2019. 2020, we go public.
Yeah.
3 months later, that not only did we purchase MHT, we just bought TSW.
Yeah.
So
So
now
MHT
Wheel
and
Pros.
TSW, what is that for everyone listening?
So MHT brought on Rotiform. It brought on Fuel Off-Road.
Yeah.
It brought on Foose Design. You guys are very familiar with Foose.
Yeah.
It also brought on Niche Road Wheels. And I feel like I'm missing one.
Motegi?
No, Motegi was already a brainchild for Wheel Pros. Motegi's been around since the early 2000s. That was one of the first brands that Wheel Pros brought on and actually made their own.
Black Rhino?
And we can get more in depth on that too. Black Rhino was a TSW.
All right. I give up then.
TSW was their own brand. So TSW is very, very popular in the racing scene. Like, there's a lot of old, classic, European and tuner, like the center lock lug that you see on a lot of the rotiforms. That was actually, that goes back to the TSW days. Like, TSW had a center lock. So they've always been in the performance car, scene. So then I found out that we brought over TSW, and I was like, dude, this is a home run. I know all 3 brands. I was like, we have to submerge ourselves into these brands and just hit it like, full force. And COVID popped.
Yeah.
The same month. And then I was like, the phone stopped ringing.
Right.
And I don't know, I haven't heard y'all's COVID stories. I don't know how it was around here. I'm sure y'all were scared shitless like we were.
It actually was
you guys
a
were
blessing for us.
You guys were much bigger than we were. Still trying to get traction.
Yeah.
But one thing I want to touch on, that industry, the wheel industry. I feel like there's so many players in the game.
Yeah.
There's so many.
Not anymore.
Like,
You keep buying them all.
well, yeah, but so what you notice is
we want
like
to hone in our own brands now.
that's why I think this is such a massive change with the Hoonigan side, is that you're changing Wheel Pro's name to Hoonigan.
Yeah.
And where typically in the industry you have these bigger brands buying it, but they still keep the name. Like Rotiform's still Rotiform. It didn't change to, what was it, MST or whatever?
Correct. So MHT
like-
was the parent company, but they kept all of their brands the same.
Exactly,
The same
yeah.
as Wheel Pros did when they manufactured Motegi, Moto Metal. Like, we kept those as their own brands. When we purchased KMC XD, we kept it as its own brand. Like, Wheel Pros was the parent company, just overseeing it. Like, it was the father figure.
Yeah. So I always wondered this, and you're the guy to ask because you've been in the industry for a lot of years. So
What's your favorite wheel?
No, what makes them different? What makes all these brands, these wheels and tire brands different? Is it the name? Is it the brand style? Is it who's got more money to put out on marketing?
I don't think it really has anything to do with are you talking about under the Wheel Pros, now Hoonigan umbrella, or just in general?
Just
like
in
in
general.
general.
So, like, okay, you have hundreds of different places to buy wheels from. What makes them all different? What makes people loyal to Rotiform versus?
It's very much marketing.
And
That's huge. If people don't know your product
Yeah.
and you're not out there pushing your product, they're never going to buy your product. So with social media nowadays, I mean, the marketing's the forefront of anything that you do. And that is a lot. That has a lot to do with why we went to Hoonigan.
Yeah.
But the other companies that are starting up, that's exactly what they don't have the bankroll that we do, but they're selling just as much wheels.
Right.
And it's because they're out there grinding and they're earning their part of the profit share.
Yeah.
Because they're getting it out into people's, like, the eye of the consumer. They're going to every single show. They're fighting over title sponsorships. Like, they're just
Gritty.
yeah.
There's also the design innovation is a big thing, because it's like you have to have that brand, you have to have that presence and everything like that, but you also have to be the one innovating those designs, I assume, right? Because the thing is, like, you'll launch a wheel, the cool design, and then everyone's going to copy it. But you're the one designing it. You're making the cool design, and then you have everything to back it up so that you guys are still at the forefront. It doesn't matter if people like knock your stuff off because you've already established yourself as that brand. Whereas a lot of those other companies aren't coming up with the designs. They're just waiting for you guys to do it. You guys are leading the front. And that's what continues to make you guys grow, because you guys are talking about, like, yeah, you know, we have those, what are the fuel ones that everyone loves that Dylan has? And I had on my Raptor. What is that wheel?
Fuel Rebel.
So we had the Fuel Rebel. That was like
Same
the
thing
most,
that's on
Super
Dylan.
sick. Yeah.
most popular, whatever. And he's like, just wait, we have a better one coming out. So, like, it's the constant innovation of another design. Like, that wheel got ripped
It's
off
never
a
being
ton.
complacent.
Yeah, and now you're coming up with another one, and that's what's going to keep you growing. That's kind of, I think, what I would assume separates you guys from everybody else, is
It's
that
also
you're doing
knowing
all
when
that.
something's like needs to come to an end. You can't just ride the coattail of something forever. You know, you always have to constantly innovate and come up with something new, something fresh, especially in this cutthroat competitive market that we're all in. And
Yeah, I think that's essential nowadays. Is
yeah,
especially no matter what level or no matter what size you are, you have to stay innovative.
Yeah.
You know, you have to. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
if you get complacent, there's somebody else like the under. So let's just say Rotiform stops designing wheels, or you know, finds the cutting edge next product. That little dog's gonna do it. You know, the underdog's gonna come up and take that spot if you guys aren't doing it. You
Yeah.
know.
In every industry, there's that where you have that product, and there's a company that gets really successful off that product, and then they end up getting content.
Right.
And then they just become stagnant, and everyone still uses them because it's the only thing there, but they're not doing anything to further that growth because they're happy with it.
That's what
And
you'll
just-
see. You call them like fad companies.
Yep.
People that just come in, they're big for like a year and a half, and then they're gone.
Yeah, they
because
phase out.
they hit one product at the right time in the right market, and
You see a lot of clothing companies like
clothing
that
companies are in and out, dude.
so frequently.
Like we're experiencing in the energy drink space where people are just launching an energy drink because it's hot right now.
Yep.
You know, and
it's
then,
a big aisle.
yeah, and then what's going to happen is if you don't have a purpose or a story or something behind it of why you're better, why
Right.
choose you over the other guy, you're just going to phase out. You know, and that's what really is the main factor of how to get to the size that you guys are.
Well,
You
and
know,
I think a lot of that is also who's in charge and who's leading
yeah,
the companies in the forefront. And we're blessed in the fact that our original creators, Randy and Jody, that made the company back in '94, have been nothing but, you know, just they're innovators in the industry, and they always want to be on the top. And so they're very smart. We reinvest in anything that we do. We don't just coast. So like
Yeah.
with COVID, we were all, you know, pretty scared shitless. The phones just turned off for 2 weeks, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, the phone lit up, and it didn't stop for a year.
Hell yeah.
We
Dude,
blew through our inventory, and just we were selling more back orders than
during
filling orders.
COVID.
Yeah.
See,
Because
so
everyone starts,
that's
they
one
have
thing I
that.
want to touch on is the
Yeah.
COVID side. So you asked on our end. So, dude, there was so much fear pushed into the industry, especially from your big podcasters that had their own businesses. Like one of them that you know we always listened to was essentially saying you're screwed if you don't have X, Y, and Z. If you don't have money built up, if you're a new company, COVID is going to wipe you out. You know, you might as well tuck in a bed and call it a night. Where it's like, dude, where you see the brands take off are those that absolutely invest as much as they possibly can and take risks when the market is down.
Difficult
COVID was our
times.
biggest growth period that we've ever had.
Yeah, same.
And that got, and then once it was over, that's when we took the next level, you know. And if you look at it from the brands that are out there right now, they're big because they didn't stop when the market went down.
Yo,
Right.
Instead,
they doubled down.
they doubled down
Yeah.
and took market share from those brands that weren't. You know, it doesn't matter what size of company you are. Even if you're a small company and you get hit with hard times, you have to continue to push through those difficult times.
Absolutely.
Dude, that's
You
just
know,
a
it's
personal life
essential.
thing. You do it in a business
And
thing. You
you
do
got-
that in life as a person or whatever. It's like when you're in those difficult times, that's what starts everything off. And
But you
then
got to cut the noise out too. There was so much noise of like, if you don't have this, you're gonna like it's gonna be tough to make it through. If you don't have this, if you don't have money, you're fucked. Like it's like, dude, put your head down, shut out the noise, and get tunnel vision focused throughout this time
Yeah.
for a year, 2 years, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And
we
then
always,
that elevates you to that next level.
Yeah,
100%.
absolutely.
And it's
You
not going to be the
always
last
have to elevate.
time. COVID was COVID. There's going to be something in 5, 6, 7 years from now. And it's going to be the same thing. It's
we're still in for the
historical,
man-made,
you
the
know?
next man-made disaster.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
it's historical. There's going to
Just-
be
just
another
around the corner.
like whatever it may be. So it's just no matter what, whether times are good or times are bad, you have to continue to fucking grow and head down. You know,
For us,
See,
us,
right
we'd
there,
already,
going back to like your leadership thing, that's
Yeah.
kind of what has led everything is how he talks like that and what he's done. And like you look at it like back from like when this whole started is like he kind of let me have like a blank canvas to kind of do these weird things that would like spark that creative and push it more and do more things. And then like what's cool is like I was with Josh the other day and he's like, oh yeah, did you see these levers? I was like, what did you do? And he's like, oh, I knew a company and I thought it'd be cool if we did these levers in different colors and stuff like that. And it's like you see how it kind of like trickles down and it's just
yeah, it's
just-
scary.
that was a
You're
cool
rubbing
moment.
off on people. I don't know.
Hey, but
I don't know if
we-
that's a good thing or a bad thing.
then the innovation's not stopping
No,
though.
no,
So that's
seriously.
what, and that's what's gonna keep going. If it's just like, say it was just me coming up with ideas, it's like it's gonna get stale. I'm gonna run out. But if we have all of us, like you come up with things, everyone comes up with things, and that's what you have. We have an environment where everybody wants to be part of that. Everyone wants to contribute to it, and it's like that's what leads to the unlimited growth.
Well, and you see that a lot with the companies that get rich overnight. And it's like either they double down, like you said, which is a great analogy, and reinvest in their company and continue to grow, or they just line their pockets. And I feel like it's the one that just line their pockets that they fall flat.
Yep.
Yep.
And I think it also has to do with the upcoming of that company and how hard they had to grind. Like, short backstory on Randy, like him and
Explain
Jody,
real quick who Randy is, so people
so
know.
Randy White he's one of the co-founders for Wheel Pros, originally with American Racing. So
Nice.
American
Yeah.
Racing is 100% in our DNA, and we created American. We didn't, but American Racing came around in 1956, and then in 1965, Art Hale created U.S. Mags, and they kind of ran parallel. They had common interests based off of who was driving for who, because those wheels were made for, they were light magnesium wheels that needed to go fast on drag cars.
Yeah.
That's their DNA. And so they kind of ran parallel, and they actually ended up becoming one company. Unfortunately, the U.S. Mag side got sold off in the 80s. However, American Racing continued its DNA. Randy was with American Racing that whole time, and that's how he learned the whole culture. Got with Jody, and then 1994 they created Wheel Pros. And 1996 opened up our first distribution centers, and it just started to go up from there. At that time, from like 96 to 2000, Wheel Pros was nothing more than like a host. We brought wheels in, we sold them to other, manufacturers at wholesale, and we shipped them right out. But nothing was officially ours.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't have a brand, we didn't have an identity. And then early 2000s, that's when we made Motegi, and we made Moto Metal. It wasn't until later on that we really continued to grow. Randy, when they started back in 94, he kind of had a similar story to you, which I really thought was cool. Would drop whatever he was doing at that moment, answer the phone, fill the order,
Yeah.
and then go deliver it. Didn't
You have
matter if
to.
it was Monday, Saturday, Sunday, that order was getting delivered.
Yeah.
And he has a little backstory too. He would answer the phone, go pull the order, just had a brand new newborn. His wife would load up the car seat in the van, and she would go deliver the wheels while he continued to grab the phone
crucial.
and push more orders.
Wow.
Like
So somebody that's grinded from like that
Respect.
has got the full interest of the company at heart, and he's
100%.
stayed through all the way through, and it's been a blessing, and I'm blessed to work for those kind of people now.
yeah.
And from 94 all the way up to 2018, Wheel Pros was nothing more than a wheel company. We did host a few tire brands, but at the DNA, it was just wheels and wheels only.
Yeah.
It wasn't until 2018 that we kind of stepped back and looked, like, we should probably look at some accessory sides of things too. Like, we're going to need lug nuts to put these things on.
Smart.
We shouldn't just keep hosting other lug nut brands. We should make our own lugs.
Yeah.
We need to bring in suspension. We need to bring in TPMS. Like, everything that somebody's going to need to make these oversized wheels and stuff fit.
Absolutely.
We need to invest. So
All of it.
that's when we bought a bunch of accessory brands in 2018. And when the COVID bubble hit and everything took off, and we were, selling more product than we ever had, and we were just riding this wave, they could have easily just been like, all right, well, we're at 25, 30 years into the company now. Let's just cash out while we can. Instead, they doubled down.
Different, dude. It's
Invested
passion.
all of the money into the company, and what we did is we just started buying more companies.
Yeah.
And it was all with the interest at heart. I don't know how it was for materials with y'all, but at any given point during COVID, we had 300,000 to 400,000 wheels on the water coming from China. Well, our average cost of a container was $1,800. Going into COVID, at the peak of COVID, we went up to $21,000 for a container.
It's still not bad compared to some.
It's crazy. And you have to imagine how
Sounds
many
like a
wheels,
personal problem.
400 to 500 wheels are in a container, and we have 300,000 to 400,000 on the water at any given point. How many
nuts.
containers is that? That's a lot.
That's insane.
So we had to really take a step back and look. And at that point, the companies that weren't being smart with their investments were knocking on our door. I don't know the specific companies that have knocked, but I've heard at its pinnacle and at its height, we were getting a call a day for people saying, please acquire me. Please buy me.
So we got
I
scared.
don't care what it
Dude,
takes.
yeah, it's the power moves that there's two things I want to touch on before I forget. The first being is it's funny what you're talking about of the early days, when he's fulfilling the orders. We just had a gentleman stop by giving a tour to, and that's what we described. He's like, how'd you get the warehouse to be so efficient? It's like, because we were doing it.
Yep.
It's not that he's like, no, first the question he asked was, who'd you bring in to help, design the flow of this? It's like, we did it because we were in it, doing it for years on end. So we knew the inefficiencies. We knew where.
We knew every aspect.
Exactly. And I truly believe the companies that quickly grow or get to that next level are led by people that did the nitty gritty shit. Like,
Pull up your sleeves and do the work.
As a founder, you have to do everything in the beginning. I wholeheartedly believe in that. You have to do the accounting, you have to do the finance, you have to package orders. You have to know every aspect of your business, because how can you, one, hire the proper person to run it,
Right.
and then two, teach them how to do it if you haven't done it yourself.
Right.
Yep.
Then you're relying on them to set it up properly. And if it's the wrong hire, you could set up an entire system wrong. I feel like in the beginning phases, people are too scared to get their hands dirty, because they're seeing this overnight success of these brands popping off. It's like, dude, it takes time. Like you said, Randy's been in it since, 95? So
94.
28 years,
And that wasn't an overnight success.
It's not an overnight. 28 years, dude. It takes time.
Yeah.
The second thing I want to touch on is your guys' warehousing. Like, so you dropped off some booklets when you're here for Vyper Fest.
Yeah.
Dude, it's insane. The amount of SKUs you guys have. Holy shit. I want to talk aftermath of like what you use, how you manage all that stuff, because it's impressive, dude.
It's insane. I use the tools they give me, so I'm probably not the best technical advisor on that.
It's nuts.
We use a lot of Salesforce.
Yeah.
For the data entry side of things.
Does this mean we can increase SKUs if we use this software?
Yeah, of course. It's definitely possible. Yeah.
I think it's there's a lot of companies on board. Discount Tire used Salesforce before I went over to them.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty big company.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a great sales tool. But that's why some of these acquisitions take so long.
Absolutely.
You
got to
know?
convert all the SKUs over, make it match, or you just use their system. Or I don't
think-
know how it
I
works.
think-
I've never been in it, but
I haven't heard like the amount of the SKUs on the last like 2 or 3 acquisitions, but I know like the MHT one when I came on, bringing just that company over brought over 14,000 SKUs.
nuts.
And that was one company. And then we brought over TSW, who had twice as many wheels under their umbrella
That's
and
nuts.
portfolio. And then since then, it's been Throttle, Hoonigan. We bought Trans-American Wholesale 2 years ago. So that brought over
Dude,
literally
you guys are owning the market.
4-wheel parts. Like, it brought over
Unreal.
everybody. It's insane. I don't know the total brand count now. I think under the Wheel Pros umbrella, I think we're at like around 46 brands.
That's wild.
That includes the accessories as well.
Yeah.
And then under the Wheel Pro or Hoonigan umbrella, this also includes like Throttle and some other. That's 65
Right.
brands that we own right there.
Yeah, dude, it's a crazy industry, and especially keeping this for like people who are starting up their own business. I want to touch on a point of, all right, you just mentioned off that you own 46 brands, so plus what was the total you said, like 86?
60, so
Or
about
60?
100 brands
100
overall.
brands?
65 brands
65 brands. Okay,
under
so
Hoonigan right now.
So
65
100
brands in the same industry. How many of those are, say, tire? That only sell like tires and wheels?
Oh God, I don't know. Yeah,
40, 50?
probably.
Okay, so there's 40 and 50 different companies selling the same thing in the same industry.
Yeah.
So we get this a lot of people saying, you're going to run out of audience. You're going to run out of a demographic.
No.
And I don't think people understand how big the United States industry is. And that is just the United States.
Yeah.
Then you move into Canada. And then you move into Mexico and
It's insane.
overseas. It is insane. So anybody who's in the beginning stages or thinking of starting a business that thinks it's already
This
saturated, there is so much market out there if you have a story, a good product, and a great service.
And there's another side
Like-
of this. Like I was talking to my buddy this weekend. He owns a company. I'm not going to say what they sell or what they do because it small world or whatever. But like, so it's always like you sell. Say we're both selling a water bottle, right? And there's 5 other brands, and it's almost like a competition or whatever. What they did, they realized that like they each had something unique to offer, and they realized that the market's big enough for all of them, and there's no reason to compete against each other. And so they started like chatting, and they all got into a group chat, and they started helping each other, and they started touring each other's facilities. And oh, that's how you do this. This is how I do this. And they started taking pros and cons from other systems, and now they're just like they all work together, even though they sell the exact same, not the exact same product, but they sell the same product of what it is in its form, although they offer little things like a story or other accessories or whatever. And it actually helped all of them become even bigger. So it's like there's so much into that, what you're saying
Right.
too, that people just don't even realize.
Especially, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Even in the super niche industries too. So we have a business advisor that ran a very successful business in a super niche machinery industry. And he has probably 10 or 15 brands that are even bigger than him, double, triple the size. And he said they never interfered. For 20 years of him running his business in a super niche, large machinery business, only in the United States. And it's just insane when you take a step back and look at it from a bird's eye view and look at how many people there are out there. So next time when you're flying in a plane and you look out the window and you see all these little cities, like, dude, you're in like a little section of the United States.
Yeah.
The
You know what I'm
smallest,
saying?
yeah.
So don't get discouraged about joining an industry or moving into an industry that already has maybe 20 or 30 or 40 companies in it already,
Right.
because there's money to be made if, 1, you hustle your ass off, 2, you have a good product, a good service, and at a good price point. Like,
Right.
Do
If you
something
go-
different too.
do it for 10 or 15 years. You know, it's not like you do it for 2 years and it doesn't work out and then you move to something else. It's like, dude, you barely even started after 2 years.
Yeah.
You know?
It's something as silly as going back to his discount tire story. There was tons of tire shops, but like your mentality of like, let's start a car show. Like it's something as simple as that makes all of a sudden you start doing car shows, no one else is doing it. Now you're the coolest tire company, right? And then
Yeah.
people want to use you because of that. So it's always
Or-
something else to add to it.
Or you get to a size, which what you guys did is you're like, holy shit, okay, we pretty much own the tire and wheel industry. What else can we do? What else is our consumer buying?
That's
you know?
exactly,
Okay. So that's
yeah.
just tires and wheels were just one section. Now you just doubled it by adding another product.
Well, and I
And
think,
you guys
know?
didn't even
Yeah.
need to do that. You guys are already massive enough. You didn't need to do what just happened. But like you're forward thinking, you're thinking of the bigger picture. You're seeing that like the Wheel Pros brand itself is not that big. Like, it's not known, right? And so you wanted to put more of that out there. So you already had Hoonigan, you already acquired them, and then you saw what you could take a brand that had a massive brand behind it, and then use that as the parent company.
The awesome, flashy. It's like Drew and I had a conversation about this like on the way over. Like, everybody knows Red Bull, but you don't just like think about Red Bull as just the drink company. You think about them in so many aspects, like a race car, F1, like
soccer team. I mean, they got it
soccer
all. You
team.
know?
Seriously, it's like everything. And so taking like a brand who like has like the car industry, you could sort of like sum up and say like, you know, they're sort of like a pinnacle for like everybody in the car industry, and saying like, you know, all of our brands sort of fall under the umbrella of ownership of that now. It's the Red Bull. It's saying like, you know, it's Hoonigan, but it's wheels, it's tires, it's, you know, it's the flashy, like the shows they put on, like it's the YouTube videos, like it's all of that. So now, like when you shop with Hoonigan, formerly, you know, Wheel Pros, like you're essentially purchasing like the Red Bull experience, you know?
I think it was a great move.
And I know
the
people it's like
reason-
heated or
reason
whatever,
being is, like,
but
yeah, I think it was a very, very smart move. The reason being, 2 notes on that is, one, that industry of wheels and tires, Hoonigan owns it. Whether people buy from Hoonigan or not, they watch their videos. They know Hoonigan. Like, Hoonigan is the staple in that industry.
Yeah.
The second being is, if I'm being honest with you, before I met you, I didn't know. I've never heard of Wheel Pros.
Yeah.
So, but I've heard of Hoonigan. I've heard of Throttle.
But you probably heard
know?
of every single one of our brands.
100%. Exactly.
But like then you were doing fine, but you want to take it to the next level and make it something bigger for the parent company.
And I
huge.
think
And like,
a lot of that was stepping back, because it's one thing to know the parent company and know all of the brands underneath, but like before you and I talked on the phone before Vyper Fest, would you have known that Fuel and Rotiform were even under the same umbrella? Or did you think that they were
I didn't know all
two
the brands, but I
two
understood.
individual brands?
I understood
And
the
to you guys,
hierarchy.
who cares?
And for
You know?
now, and I think that's what Hoonigan, bringing Hoonigan to the top.
You're personalizing it.
Everybody's exactly.
You're personalizing
You're
it
going to
now.
elevate and personalize every single brand underneath it, and you're gonna take those brands to just an even newer level. But everybody's going to associate those brands with being together now.
Yeah.
No one's going to look at it and be like, "Oh, I didn't know Fuel was not a Hoonigan brand," or "I didn't know Rotiform or American Racing," or I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah.
They're not going to say that anymore. They're not going to be like, "I didn't know they were all owned by one company called Wheel
And
Pros."
not only that, but like you guys
But
aren't doing
everybody's
just
going to know that the Hoonigan owns all of
yeah,
those brands
right.
now.
and you're not just doing wheels either. And I think it's taking that step back and looking at like Wheel Pros, and like it's just, you know, you didn't have that brand, like the notoriety with that, even
Right.
though you had it with all the other wheel brands. And then so bringing Hoonigan in, you're personalizing the parent company, so people are familiarizing themselves with the parent company, and then it's like. It's like, not gonna lie, if you're looking at wheels and it's like you're looking at, like, say you're a fan of certain people or whatnot, and you're trying to decide which wheels, you're more likely to choose one of your brands now because of Hoonigan. It's Hoonigan.
Right.
Whereas you're looking at like Wheel Pros or whatever their competitors are, it's like they're gonna gravitate towards something they know it's familiar, which is Hoonigan. So you're like,
And that's the Red Bull strategy.
and you're not some
and
big.
it touches back to what you said earlier. It's like, what separates all of these companies, and I think it's the innovative thinking.
Yeah.
What other companies are out there that thought, hey, let's not just go from a wheel company, let's go be an accessory company. Well, how do we get this into more consumers' hands? Well, probably through social media and marketing. So how do we do that? Well, let's purchase an already established, you know, multimedia brand, Hoonigan, that aligns with the same values that we do. And then that's doing so successful. Now that we have both of these, everybody knows Hoonigan. How do we get where they know Hoonigan and every single brand that's affiliated with Hoonigan? Well, let's bring this to the top, because now everything is going to share the same marketing values that Hoonigan did.
Yeah.
And
It's
clearly one that is working well.
it's
It
a-
has worked
Yeah,
well.
absolutely.
It's a
We're
win-win.
pumped.
It's a win-win in 2 different ways. One being, if people start buying from the Hoonigan brands now because they know it's Hoonigan, that's a win for you guys.
No.
But on the other end, if people still are buying from Rotiform but don't know that it's a Hoonigan brand, still a win for you guys.
Well, and I think,
You know, because
yeah.
it's still under their umbrella.
And I think it's so interesting, like when other companies badger, like through every acquisition, we've heard it from both sides. there's half the crowd that's like, that's awesome. Now I can go to you guys for all of this. And then there's the other, and they're like, they're just monopolizing. That's all they're doing. How is being smart and investing into your company because you see a niche market that you need? We needed wheels, then we needed tires, then we needed suspension, then we needed lighting. We needed all of these
You're
things.
making
That's
it
not
more-
monopolizing.
no,
That's just making sure that we have something to offer our customers.
It's convenience.
Yeah, we want our customers to call us and order a complete package. What else do you need on your vehicle from start to finish?
It's a
We
good-
can get you the
it's
wheels,
a good
the
example.
tires, the
And if
lights,
you can
the
bring it
lifts,
in
the
house,
everything.
it helps reduce cost. It makes
so-
it easier for
No,
your
no, no.
customers
So
this
to
is-
get it all into one
if they
location.
call a competitor,
This is
Yeah.
a really good example of like you can never win with the customer. Like
You
they're
give 'em-
never going to be happy with something. If you
that's-
do something that you
Yeah.
basically did this stuff to make it more convenient for the customer, and you're
not
still
gonna
going to get shit for it. And so it's like you got
Yeah.
to pick and choose your
Well, and
battles.
if the customer has to call A for this and then turn around and source out and call B for this and then go to C to get this installed, like, and they could have done it all with one,
Right.
don't you think your customer's going to be a little happier?
Yeah.
you would
And
assume.
You would think.
Yeah, it's
Well,
just
they,
not
they
as
will
easy
be.
right
It's the
there.
vocal ones who don't like to change or don't want to.
And I think a lot of the badgering
brand
is just the
change.
companies as well.
Yeah.
They say we're monopolizing, but I think it's because they take a step back and they're like, damn, that was a smart power play. We
Yeah,
should have
dude.
probably done that too.
A lot
Yeah.
of times when people say jealousy statements, it's typically because they're jealous or they're
They
mad
have the-
because they didn't do it or they didn't have the nuts to do it, and that's just
Yeah.
what it is. You know,
They
you,
didn't think of it.
I was gonna say
first. You know
courage,
what it
but the
is,
nut.
yeah.
you think Randy's at home being like, oh damn, you know, I don't like what this company's seeing. You know, he's thinking is, hell yeah, this is a power play. What else can I do?
He's
you know,
probably sitting in
he's
his
on,
office.
he's on the next move already.
See,
like-
that was actually my next question for you, Drew. Is like, what's next? But I think that this acquisition was probably the biggest thing on the.
So
Yeah,
what
it's
we
well,
want to
it's
do,
big.
It's already
yeah.
it's not new, right?
It's
I think
just a
that's one thing
rebrand.
people overlooked. Yeah,
rebranding
but I think
is
people,
the
I think the
new.
general public think that this is like this just happened, but like shed light on it,
It's-
like you guys bought Hoonigan
So it's
3
a lot
years
of
ago.
realigning the values too. So it was Wheel Pros, and then right underneath Wheel Pros, we had 4-wheel parts. We had DLG, which was like Morimoto and all of that. We had Throttle, which is a B2B, or I mean a B2C, because they're just an e-commerce selling straight to the consumer.
Yep.
Wheel Pros wanted to kind of shift that. So now Wheel Pros is still very much in play, but Wheel Pros is the wholesale B2B side of things. Hoonigan is the parent company overseeing all of it. Wheel Pros will be the B2B. Throttle will be the e-commerce B2C. And then we'll have 4-wheel parts, which is your actual retail walk-in B2C.
Nice.
That's
So
cool.
So who is Hoonigan now's competition, like in the wheel and tire industry, essentially?
I mean, there's always going to be up-and-comers, but they just don't bring to the table what we do.
Yeah.
They don't give the whole portfolio, so
Yeah.
I don't think there is.
Because there's
And that sounds cocky, but it's just like
That's just the facts.
no one has invested that much time and effort
Yeah.
to build an entire
I mean, when
portfolio.
when you monopolize everything, you're just the big. No, I'm just kidding.
uh,
Sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
So
Yeah,
you-
he's just leaving comments on all the new.
I'm gonna
You're the
on
one
all
putting
the
the comments.
yeah, I
out
just
there.
I put the Monopoly Man gif on every.
I wanna spice this up a little bit. You can answer. You don't have to answer.
Is this the part I'm gonna have to cut out?
Maybe.
Brett, go ahead and start the cut here.
Or you guys deal with them at all?
We do.
Oh, you do?
Brent, cut this stuff out.
So,
All right, you can cut this.
whoa.
Is that where we cut it?
All right, Brent, cut this part.
No, I'm just screwing with you.
No comment.
That's funny.
I plead the fifth.
We'll just bleep that question out and keep the
Yeah.
rest in.
Dude, I love what you guys are doing, and even at having you guys a part of Vyperfest. First of all, appreciate everything you guys did for us.
Absolutely.
It was rad. You guys traveled down here. Your entire team was here.
Set up a booth of all booths,
the
too. That
booth
thing
was
was a
sick.
beast. I'm never going to complain about setting up bars ever again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
We like to show up in force.
what's awesome is just the crew that you guys have.
Yeah.
You know, having a team that is also aligned with our vision.
Yeah.
You know, that somebody that you can kick back and drink a beer with. You know, those are the kinds of
We did
brands
that.
and partners that we
it's-
want
it's
to work
like
with.
if you step back and you look at it, like we're a corporate company, but we're not corporate guys. enthusiast first,
100%.
and then there's the company. So
That's
when we
awesome.
show
Love
up,
it.
it's just car guys
Yeah, dude.
enjoying car
Why
things.
we pull up
Like-
and you both are sucking down spotty cows already. You know,
Dude, yeah.
First time meeting you,
It's-
obviously.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but,
no comment.
No, I mean that's
I remember that.
that's
slapping 200 fuel stickers all over your truck.
Yeah.
That was literally the first time
$1,000 beater.
that was the first time I met Drew too, right there.
that's what makes business fun is
Yeah.
having the friendships and partnerships that we have to be able to help grow each other. You know,
Absolutely.
otherwise, if you're in business solely for the money factor of it, dude, it's going to be stressful.
How
It's not going to be
boring.
fun. It's going to be boring.
In
Like
today's
you're
time,
doing it for the
just
wrong
quit.
reasons. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like
I mean,
this has been so fun.
all that does
Such-
is saturate it.
Seriously, it's been such a fun journey connecting with all these cool brands,
Yeah.
having you guys here. Like, dude, that Vyper Fest was such a blast.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude.
Dude, it was so much fun.
I told these guys we're lifers, man. So
Let's
as long
go.
as you have us,
Call
we're
them
gonna
Viper
be
for
there.
lifers.
Absolutely.
Vipers for lifers. I
You-
like that.
That's
Next time
that-
we're putting you in a green photography because
I
you got.
already got my tattoo. It's gonna say "Let's go."
I'm down
Dude, you're,
for
you're
it.
gonna be an event T-shirt next year with the videos you're getting.
There you go. Dude.
You got to put
or end up on somebody's hood.
cut CJ
Yeah,
Greaves
right.
cut CJ Greaves video that you took in
What a
here.
cool guy too,
Dude.
man. Like, dude,
That
he
was
was
an
all about
inch
it.
from
He was
disaster,
like, yeah, he came
though.
over there. He was like, "Did I get close?" I was like, "Did you get close?"
I
You
just
hit
did.
me.
Bro, you almost smoked me.
Dude, it was awesome. Yeah, CJ Greaves, he's such a humble guy.
Yeah.
We had him on the last podcast.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And again, it's the people in it. You know, he's just your everyday guy. And what's awesome too is that, which we learned is he's still working on his truck
Yeah.
every race,
Through and through.
through and through,
Knows
every
every
race.
part of it.
He's not just racing it and then giving it off to the team, say, "Hey, fix it."
No,
he's
yeah.
fixing it. You know,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
followed
It's
I followed
so
his dad
cool.
for a long time, and I always got that same like persona from his dad. It's build, break, repeat. Like
Exactly.
if you can build it and you can break it and you can fix it,
Yeah.
that's going to take you so much farther than
Yeah.
like you said, just crashed it, pass it off to the team. Like I love F1, I watch a lot of F1, but do you think any of those drivers can rebuild that car?
No.
Absolutely not.
And think about how that applies to business too. When you're running a business,
It's the same-
100%.
just
Well,
what
and
we
it,
talked
not
about
only
in the
that,
beginning.
it
Yeah.
also
If
makes
you don't know it,
yeah.
how do you fix it?
yep.
Like if you as a business owner, and I feel like the driver of the cockpit is very much the business owner at that point because no one eats if he doesn't win.
Right.
If you don't know how to do every part of that, how are you going to really resonate with your team? How are you going to resonate with your guys if you're not down there busting your knuckles and wrenching with them too?
Absolutely.
Because you know what happens is it creates problems where everyone will look at you and be like, "Well, why aren't you helping? You know, you're telling me to do all this shit, but then you're going off and you
Yeah.
know." When it's cold outside, we're fixing the truck, but you're going inside
Well, and
in
it's-
nice heat. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
and it's-
why am I doing this if our leader's not here doing it with us?
Y'all are doing every aspect of the company, and that's what I love about you guys. And then I think we all have that same mindset as well. I mean, we love getting our hands into everything. Like
Yeah.
we could just as easily have set up the partnership with Vyperfest and then just
Yeah.
brought in the marketing team and then sent them.
Totally.
And they offered, but we were like, no, dude,
Yeah,
this is.
I love that.
It's
Well,
in
that's
our
part of the conversation
It's
of-
in our backyard. Give us the materials that
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah.
make this successful show. Let us go do it.
We
Like,
appreciate that.
Yeah,
we
that was the
want it.
conversation. It was like I was talking to Drew. It was like, what do you want to get out of this? What do we want to get out of this? How can we both do this to make it work the best? Because he's like, hey man, it's late in the quarter. I mean, it's 2 weeks out or however long. He's like, I don't know if we can make all this work. I was like, how do you want to make it work?
Well, the
And
coolest
then-
thing was you guys saw the vision of it too. You know, like
Absolutely.
it's our first event. We're telling you all this car show, burnout pit, this, that, and the other. You guys saw the vision, and that helped. Like that trust that you guys had in us speaks volumes. Like,
well,
we
and
appreciate that.
any other wheel company could have brushed it off and been, well, they don't sell wheels. Why would I go to the show?
Right?
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah. You had,
We weren't there to sell. We didn't sell a single thing. It's 100% alignment for two companies to get brand awareness out there.
absolutely.
You promoted our product, we promoted your product, and I think both companies grew and are greater for it.
Yeah.
And
And the
that's what we're
relationships and
about.
everything else. Yeah,
It's
man.
all
Yeah.
about the relationships, and it's all about the brand awareness and the exposure.
Yeah.
You know,
I love seeing there's a group of brands in this day and age that are growing and are going to be, I believe, staples in every individual industry You guys are crushing it. You guys have been in it for a while. Like, you have Brunt. Brunt is coming up, high quality products. He's all about the personable aspect of it too. Levrack's coming up in their industry. Awesome group of guys on that one as well. You got Vyper. You got all these younger, upcoming brands that I believe are going to take over the industry because you have your big players in the game that I think are getting comfortable and are at that corporate level where, you know, the CEOs or the founders are maybe bought out, and now it's just some suit and tie big wig running the organization.
I agree with the Brunt one. That's a great example because you could just as easily go to any store and buy a Carhartt.
Yep.
Yeah.
You absolutely
Nothing
could.
wrong with that. I love Carhartt. Half my closet's Carhartt.
Right.
But did they take the time and effort like a newer company like Brunt or even these new like True Work brands or different brands like that? Like, no.
Exactly.
Those guys are out there grinding and they're trying to put out better product.
Yeah.
And get it into the hands of the consumers.
It's a great product too.
Yeah, like
I love that
enthusiast
jacket.
driven and focused on like actually making a difference. And
Yeah.
and I think all the companies you're talking about, it's just the genuine aspect of the who's behind it. You know, they want to do something big. They want to make a bigger difference. None of these companies are looking out for like, hey, how much money can we make? You know what I mean? It's more so like solving a problem, doing something bigger, making a bigger impact, and it makes all the difference.
Dude, so Dylan and I were in San Diego about 2.5 weeks ago visiting our marketing partner. And so we're on the boardwalk and we see this massive yacht, like 300 feet yacht. And that's just, it's like at that point, like the Titanic. And we look up the owner of it.
Except
and
it's still floating. Yeah.
Damn. We looked up the.
Hey, too soon, Sam.
It's been like 100+ years. 200.
Still too soon.
Yeah, okay.
We looked up the owner of it and started doing research on him. And his name is Dennis Washington. First of all, if you got that name, you own a boat like that. Like, that's a solid name. He was an industrialist. Started with a similar story that you were talking about. Is you were sweeping floors. He started off doing the same thing.
Yeah.
He was, but he was wiping oil off of big machinery all day for years. And now he's worth like $8 billion.
Wow.
But regardless, the point of the
I
story
want that story
is
of how I have to clean Dane's shoes every day. I hope
don't
I
have
get to
to-
be the.
No, you just got to clean up the black
You
paint.
don't have the last name.
You're not wrong.
the point of the story is you dig deeper into his actual passion and how he got started. The first year, so he got when he started his own business, his own construction company, he took a loan from Caterpillar for $30,000, and a year later, that same owner that gave him that $30,000 loan asked him if he would donate $25,000 to a hospital, and he could pay off in increments. And he's like, "This is all I have." He's like, "I understand. We'll just do a 5-year payment plan, but we'll name the hotel or the hospital room after you and your wife." And he was such a giver. He said, "Let's do it. Absolutely. I'll give you everything because I believe in it, and I'm still just going to work my ass off to pay it off." Fast forward 60 years, him and his wife donated over like a cumulative like $250 million
God.
just because of that first start. As he saw how much of an impact that him giving helped him grow,
Yeah.
him and his
That's
wife.
awesome.
And he wasn't just giving to expect something
Yeah.
back. He was giving because he's a great person. And
Wow.
that's
should
what
be.
like we want to build here is be able to get to that
it's
size.
the silent ones.
Yeah, dude.
The ones
Yeah.
you don't know about that give.
Exactly. And what's also cool about him, no Instagram, him and his wife, nothing. They built it by just pure grit, work, late nights, like, but it's just cool. Like the giving back side, the partnerships, like doing the stuff in silent that nobody sees and not expecting anything in return. You guys came here, you didn't expect anything.
No.
Like, yeah, let's do it. This sounds like a great party. You know, whether you got anything or not, like it still is just paying it forward.
Yeah.
You know?
No, we had that Alex mindset, which we
I
saw.
like this. What is this? Is this something cool or is
No,
this something
I
weird?
gotta give
is
you
this
props.
like,
Like,
it's like
you-
3 spotted cows before noon, 4 spotted cows afternoon?
No,
Or is this-
I liked your mentality of how like you came to Vyper and you were consumer first, but
Yeah.
you saw where the company was going and you fully just submerged yourself into what they were doing, and that's kind of how my mentality was on it. I mean, y'all were popping up in every single one of my customers. I knew it was a good product. It's not a cheap product. It's overbuilt. But I saw with like the marketing and the effort and just everything that was going into it, I had that same mentality. Like this is going places,
Yeah.
and I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And
Appreciate
y'all
that.
putting on the festival, like we were just all about it.
Yeah, dude, it was fun.
Yeah.
And
It was definitely
dude,
a good time.
it's exciting. It's definitely inspiring hearing. I'd never heard Will Pro's story
Yeah.
or Hoonigan's story, but I'm still gonna say Will Pro's because
It's
I still look at it
tough
separate.
one,
But,
too.
weird, yeah.
but I love the story behind it and the powerhouse moves that Randy made of acquiring people, and like he just didn't stop. And that's the same thing we want to do. Is like the chairs like just got our name out there. There's so much shit we're moving into that's just gonna accelerate it.
Well, I'm pumped to see where even this partnership
Absolutely.
goes. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, too hungry.
We got some fun stuff planned.
We do got a lot of fun
We
stuff
got-
planned.
We got some.
Does that involve drinking beer, spotted cows?
Spooted.
Well,
Spooted
that's
cow.
how we get the creative ideas flowing, right?
I know.
Yeah.
Well,
How
I know
else
this
do
is
you
probably going
guys-
to air after SEMA, but I'm excited for SEMA.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
I can't wait to see you guys in our booth.
It's gonna be fun.
That's just gonna be awesome.
Yeah,
man.
I'm excited.
What an alignment.
We're definitely excited for SEMA this year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
That'd be
thanks for coming on, man.
absolutely.
Really appreciate it. It was a
Thanks
joy
for having
talking
us.
with you. Yeah. Thank you for this awesome gift too. This is definitely gonna get used.
Oh yeah, the freedom
Dude,
fund, man.
yeah. Mike, I love the Chug Bud, but damn, this thing's
Dude, it's an eagle.
So
How
I
could
was-
you not
eagle. Like,
it?
damn,
Yeah.
this thing's pretty sick.
I was gonna bring another gift, and I'm kind of mad that I didn't. But
I think this one's pretty damn good.
no, this one's good. It was something to go along with it. So when Chris was down there visiting last week, and we went out to dinner, and I was like, "Have you ever had Malorts? Y'all know what Malorts is?
No.
It's the most god awful like medicinal alcohol.
Oh, is it?
On the
Oh,
face
no.
of the
Oh, we're
earth.
cool. You don't have to bring that. It's
Yeah,
fine.
you
Yeah.
keep
We're
that.
at
And I was
good
gonna
time.
bring it, and then
No,
I was
it's
like, you know
alright.
what? This is an early podcast, maybe not. And I'm like, nope, next time I'm bringing it. So
No, it's been
All
fun.
right.
So with
Sounds good.
with your history, 34 years in this world, what piece of advice would you give anybody listening?
that doesn't sound cliche.
That doesn't, yeah,
No,
whatever it is.
It
it
could be
can-
a cliche, but
What-
if it means something to you.
yeah, what's gotten
I
you?
mean, for me, what resonates with me is just take a chance,
Love it.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, I took a chance moving to Illinois, and it ended up being the greatest thing I ever did. I mean, I wouldn't sit at this table right now talking
Yeah.
to you guys had I not done that, and then leaving Discount Tire and taking a 15-year career just on a chance, and then
Yeah, dude.
same
you took
thing.
a lot of chances.
That ended up being
Yeah.
the same thing. It's just, it sounds cliche, but dude, just if it sounds right and it feels right, just take a chance.
Don't think
Shut
too much
everybody
about it.
else out and
Don't
take
think
your
about
chance.
it. Just do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and the world will figure it out.
Well, that's what we always say too. Is everything's gonna be okay, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
a
you
good
went
one.
through some hard shit in your life. You got through it. There's
Yeah.
gonna be more hard shit coming up,
Right.
and you're gonna get right through
Well, and
it.
it goes.
So-
Yeah,
It kind of
and,
aligns. Like I'm still with where the Hoonigan company's going. So, like our new brand vision statement is we're just going to provide the passion that keeps dreams in motion.
Bro, done. And that's one thing
That's
I was
good.
sitting here like
like
thinking
it.
back after like what you were talking about, and the biggest takeaways from your story, and it's on a mass level that everybody kind of does and goes through, but no one really acknowledges it. Like your story basically like you had a passion and you followed your passion and you took chances,
Yep.
and then the chances that you took them for you. And you didn't ask anything out of it.
No.
Like when you wanted to do the car show at Discount Tire, it's because you thought it'd be cool. You were interested in it. And like it was going to help them, but you weren't asking anything about it. It's something you were passionate about. You went over to the wheel company because you were passionate about it. And like you wanted to help that other company out because you had the skills and ability to. You didn't go there saying, hey, I can make you a lot of money. Pay me this much money and I'll come over. You were like, I think I can help you guys out because you have this problem.
Yeah.
And like, again, you took another chance. And it's like, that's really comes down to passion, chances, and just doing
Yeah.
the right thing.
Yeah,
You know?
I love it.
because it felt right.
If you have a feeling, it feels right. Drew says, take a chance.
Take
Take a chance.
Thanks for coming on, man. This was
Hell
awesome.
yeah, dude. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
you.
me.
Thanks for joining us, Drew.
Thanks for listening. See you next week.